Surekha. I'm from Zoho, and I'm going to present to you the power of automation, be it testing automation as well as robotic process automation. And now this game is relevant to my session. So the first one is NASA's Mariner 1 space probe was intending to do a flyby, but it self-destructed because of one single missing hyphen in its code. Nearly 75 million items were sold at 1 penny in Amazon. And the last one is Israel's first rover, Bereshit, arrived on Mars. So we are playing a game, sir. Please feel free to participate. So this is true, truth, and the lie. So which do you think is the lie? Third one. Anything else? Any other answers? No? Yes, you're right. It's the third one because it was a lunar rover which arrived on the moon. So this is my agenda today. I'm going to talk to you if automation is necessary for efficiency, test automation with Zoho QEngine, and how you can process automate with Zoho RPA, and of course, how we can help you. So does automation lead to efficiency? So there's a lot of theory, out there which says that automation gives 10x productivity or 20x operational efficiency. But I'm going to give you real life or real world scenarios which adheres to this. So the first one is, let's look at software automation at a glimpse. So the first one is infrastructure as code. Imagine you want to build a castle with Lego blocks. What do? We place each of the Lego blocks one on top of each other. And the next time when you want to build the same thing, you do the same thing. But what if you could write those as a set of instructions? And then the next time you want to build the same Lego castle, you just pull up the instructions. It is the same thing, but with a software. So you can set up your computer systems, your networks, your databases with just code, which is nothing else, infrastructure as code automation. And you can tweak this code. You can make data changes to this code. You can make any configurations to the network or the servers, and it will help you. So this is IAC. The next one is business process automation. So imagine there are a lot of repetitive tasks. I mean, some of it doesn't need the manual labor that we are putting in our organizations. So if you want to streamline it, you would go for business process automation. So what are the tasks? Like, let me give you an example. So if you want to fetch data, and you are fetching data, humongous amount of data from across various sources, you can automate that. What about approval process? Every time you need to raise an approval, you have to send an email, your boss has to approve, and all of that. You can automate it. So there are n number of things that we can automate with business process automation. The next thing is testing automation. So whenever you build an application or a software, you would need to test it for errors or bugs before you deploy it into the market. And that is what testing automation software tools help you with. There are various types of testing automation. Say unit automation. A lot of people, we are at the booth, a lot of people were asking, so do you do unit testing? Do you do regression testing? Yes. So I'll give you a few examples of what testing automation can do. So say you have an application and there are multiple components to this application. You can use unit testing to test those individual components. And then there is regression testing. As developers, what we do usually, we write code and then we forget about the 1,000 lines of code which we wrote way back then. So what happens is the new line of code affects that, and then our application doesn't work. Regression testing fixes that. It also helps you, it ensures that your new code does not affect the existing line of code. Then of course we have your performance testing, your UI testing. There are n number of testing processes that you can do, and you can automate all of that with testing automation. And then we have our CI and CD tools. So for continuous integration, again an example. So imagine you are building a video game. You and your friends are building a video game, and each of you is tasked with a certain component. So for example, say some of you are tasked with the graphics, another is tasked with the gameplay, and say sound effects. Now rather than waiting for each one of you to complete, you can, as and when you complete, you can share the code, and this helps you eradicate any errors right at the get-go. So that is continuous integration. Continuous deployment is when you're able to push your product in the deployment environments as and when it is ready. So this, and all of this, gives a brief glimpse into what is software automation. And this can definitely help improve our efficiency. How? We'll see. Can anyone read the number on the slide? Okay, 9,000 crores. The story is, there was this cab driver down south, and one fine day, this amount was credited to his bank account. Does anybody know the story? Have you come across the news? Yes. So, could it have been prevented? Was there due diligence done? Was there a technical glitch? Yes, of course there was a technical glitch, which could have been prevented had they followed probably test automation or probably automating their business processes. And of course, the Amazon's penny glitch, which we saw in our game. So the story goes that one Christmas, nearly 75 million items on Amazon. So be it your 85-inch TV or a $1,000 product, retailed at Amazon for a penny. So all the buyers had a field day. They all went ahead and bought 85-inch TVs. Now what about the seller? What happened was, there was this Repricer Express, which is a competitive pricing tool, which helps the seller price competitively as against his competition. And there was a technical glitch which made anything and everything that was retailing on Amazon sell at 1 penny, which again could have been mitigated. And yes, all of this, these are the real world examples which prove that automation can improve efficiency. So the first is, of course, like risk mitigation. So imagine in the case of the bank or even Repricer Express, it did cause a loss of reputation for them. And of course, in the bank's case, the CEO had to step down. So this could have definitely been prevented had they just done the due diligence. The next one is bots. Like we were talking about process automation. We do have bots that can automate repetitive tasks, which means that you're optimizing your human resources to do the more brain work rather than the normal copy paste and just send off the mails. And of course, the regression testing, which helps you ensure that your existing code or the new code that you're writing does not affect the existing code. And this, again, pulling into the the CI and CD example that we saw, will help you with integrated development and the timelines. Test reporting and analysis. So a lot of times what happens is, see, we are done with the testing or we have done with our process automation. How are we able to find out whether what works and what hasn't worked? Even with automation, for that matter, when you're automating certain processes, you will have to figure out what works for you and what doesn't work. And all of these are possible with insightful dashboards and analytics which are out there. And hence, everything, all of it, product delivery timelines, your ROIs, and you're always able to optimize resources for more serious projects. So let's look at automation testing. So briefly, what is test automation? It's a use of software tools to help write, manage, execute, and collaborate over test cases. So a lot of time, before, we still do manual testing. So at any point of time when you're building an application or a website, you will manually click the buttons, enter form fields to see if they work. But with test automation, it automates the process of writing, and it helps you write n number of test cases, capture n number of use case scenarios, and what takes say 3 hours will probably take half an hour. So let's look at how do organizations actually do testing. So in manual testing, what happens is I plan out my use case scenarios, I write them down, I write down all the use case that I have to do, all the test cases, and then I actually execute it manually. So for example, if I have to write click button A to go to page C, manual tester is actually writing that step, and then he's manually doing it to check manual testing. The other way that organizations continue to do testing is via Selenium WebDriver. So it's an open source tool. A lot of testers are aware of Selenium here, using test case scripts like Java, PHP. To be honest, there are a lot of languages coming up. There's Ruby on Rails, there's Python, but predominantly the most common languages or the proper languages happen to be Java, PHP, and testers, developers continue to write in these languages. And the next one, which is upcoming, is the low code, no code test automation. So I'll give you a brief overview of what no code does, what low code does, and what is pro code. And the product we are presenting is Zoho QEngine, and yes, it's a low code, no code, and pro code test automation tool. Probably when I take you through the features, I'll give you a brief overview of what capabilities these can do. So let's look at our journey. So for those who don't know, we are Zoho. We are a $1 billion revenue company. We are proudly bootstrapped and profitable, and 3 of the 5 Fortune 500 organizations happen to be our customers. And we have been in this business for over 25 plus years now, with a number of products in our suite. So say your CRM, mail, your desk, we have the length and gamut of all of the apps. So these are the apps that I was talking about. This is the Zoho ecosystem, and Zoho QEngine began as an internal tool testing all these products. And this is the developer suite that we are capturing today. I mean, we have a booth out there, so please feel free to visit the booth. So these are the developer suite of products, and I'm talking about QEngine and RPA today. So as it began as an internal testing tool, and there's something which keeps us apart from our competition is the fact that we give a lot of importance to R&D. We spend a lot of money on R&D. So when we knew that it's already a tool, I mean, we are building products for our customers, and we also built a product internally to test those products as well. And we continue to do that. I mean, anytime there's an inside joke in Zoho, anytime there's a problem, we just build a product on it. So if there's something that we need, we just go ahead and build a product. So that's how QEngine came into play. It started off an internal tool, and now we realized that there's a lot more that we can do for the market, and it's pushed out. So QEngine, this is the test automation software to run your entire lifecycle. Just have a look at the brief product screens. You can definitely come over to the booth. We can give you a full-on hands-on demo that you can look at. So this is how the interface looks. I'll tell you what separates QEngine from the other test automation tools in the market. So what sets us apart is the single window cross-platform management. So to give you an example, say we are writing a web application. Now I'll have to test whether that works on web. I'll have to test whether it works on mobile, and then if there are APIs, I'll have to test. So this is just for one, say, feature or functionality. So I'll be writing hundreds of test cases for hundreds of features that my application has, and I'll be writing these test cases in web, Android, iOS, and imagine how exponentially maintaining those test cases will be. So a pain point that we wanted to address from the testing community and the developer community is the fact that maintaining these test cases or writing test cases was difficult. It is hard, and if you're going to write test cases for multiple platforms and with multiple use cases, it is hard, and that is what we wanted to address. And I hope the product addresses that, and I hope when you come over to the booth, we'll be able to showcase that. So you can test anything with Zoho. So what do we mean by that? So first is web applications. Any web application, be it your e-commerce, a lot of them in the fintech space are here, banking, healthcare apps, anything which is being built on Node.js or PHP, or even like open source tools like Flutter. If you're accessing them on a normal browser like your Chrome or Edge, you can definitely test those applications with Zoho QEngine. Again, mobile applications. So right now, most of it is mobile. I mean, it's like you build a web app, and then you also ensure that there's a mobile app as well. So mobile applications, if you are building any mobile application, be it a social media app, entertainment app, and you can test this on for Android as well as iOS. We have simulators and emulators which emulates how the phone looks in real life, and you can test that on your desktop itself. And of course, APIs. I mean, we all connect APIs, or it could be Google Maps. You might integrate your the Maps API with your application, with your tracking or logistic application. You can have YouTube APIs into your entertainment application. So, or just connecting to internal applications, you'll be using APIs. So you can test that with the Zoho QEngine. Custom workflows. So forget the fact that we are building new applications? What if we are using existing applications like Salesforce, but sometimes we will be writing code, and what if you want to test those code? Because a lot of times what happens is we will be writing custom workflows. We need to write custom workflows so that the logic is addressed, and if you want to test those, then you will definitely, you can do it with QEngine. So now let's look at the product features. So this is how we have segregated the entire, you can say, the testing life cycle. So the first thing is creation. You create your test cases. So like I was saying, the no-code recorder. So what the no-code recorder does is, whatever interaction that you do with your application, be it web or mobile, all your human clicks, your form fills, any of it, it captures and it generates the test case scripts without any manual intervention. So basically you are not coding. All you're doing is just interacting with your application, and test case scripts are generated. The low-code builder is, low-code is more of a drag and drop. It's a UI. So all you need to do is just drag and drop test case scripts, and you can generate test scripts. And of course, you also have a pro-code editor for those who want to, work within the test case script generated. So after you generate the test case scripts, you still have to add, logic inside within the code. So that's why your pro-code editor helps. Reusable test cases. So say you have functionalities such as login. Now every time you want to log in, you needn't write a login test case. You can just use a repository and call the login test case every time you need. The other one is test management. So like I told you, we have the single window cross-platform management, wherein you can manage test cases for multiple devices. So that is cross-platform management for you. At the end, you have to execute it. You can run it on web, you can run it for mobile, you can run it parallelly or sequentially. Parallelly is when it's like a, it's like a billing counter. Unless and until the person in front of you is not done with your billing, you'll have to wait. So running parallel tests is something like that. You will have to wait for the previous test case to finish, and then you can run your test case. Sequentially is side by side, you can run your test case. I would want to spend a time on AI-powered self-healing. So while we are capturing test case scripts, there are something called as elements or variables, which are more like locators or addresses. So say you have a button, when you click on the button, it shows you the element or locator. It's like an address of this button. So this button exists over here. This button has this element or variable. What if it is broken? What if you make a change and it is broken? So does it mean that you have to go back and change the test case? No. What happens is when you run the test case, automatically it sees the next best available locator or element, and it will choose that. And the next time when you look at the platform, it will ask you if you're okay with that change. If you're okay with the change, it will do it across all your test cases, and your test cases will run seamlessly without any errors. And of course, you'll have to plan your test cases. We already saw what dashboards are. And of course, with team collaboration, you can also invite your developer to look at the test case. You can share the test case with them. We also integrate with various project management software. So it is seamless. You can have unless and until say your boss doesn't approve, probably you can't execute the test cases. So you can have multiple user roles and permissions based on what your organization needs. So these are the capabilities. So we saw the features. The capabilities, to briefly put it, one is, of course, we provide data-driven testing. We'll help with functionality testing. We'll help with regression testing. I mean, any testing that you need, we can help you out with it. And of course, we have secure environments. So Zoho takes its privacy very seriously. So we are on Zoho Cloud, and we take that privacy very seriously, because we own the cloud. So it's paramount to us that we are able to pass on that benefit to our customers, that it is private. Your data is secure with us. So this is the pricing exclusively for GIS users. We are doing free 3 months to use. So this is based on the number of parallel tests, or you can just run one test case per parallel thread. The more you purchase, and it depends on your use cases, it depends on how you're building your application. So next, I'm going to move on to robotic process automation. So this is where, like I was telling, you can streamline your repetitive tasks and automate them with RPA. So we'll see what RPA does. So you can create software bots for high volume automation. The key word here is high volume automation, because if it's going to be just one-off, you wouldn't want to use a software bot, whereas when it is high volume, you would definitely can use RPA. This is purely only on the UI. So similar to we have our no-code recorder, it captures the interaction and it can automate the interactions that you do. So Zoho RPA helps you, it captures, it's a software bot which interacts with the graphical interface of the application that you are utilizing or you want to automate the process in. So this is the product in action. Okay. Oh, probably you can come over to the demo, to the booth, and I can show you. This is, you install an agent to your laptop or your desktop, and then you will be able to execute that. So these are the key highlights. Because it's a low-code, no-code tool, it can also drag and drop, and you can automate those tasks. N number of apps you can automate with RPA. It doesn't have to be just your Windows app. I'll also show you what are the apps that you can automate with. So Windows, yes, any Windows based applications which are supported frameworks with WinForms or Win32, you will be able to automate with Zoho RPA. And you can record your actions with drag and drop and so on. Web automation is when you have web applications, you want to check off all these clicks and you want to automate on a faster basis, you can use Zoho RPA. And these are all the supported browsers. A lot of times, way back we used to use macros. Instead of macros, you can now use RPA to automate those tasks, automate your Excel tasks with Zoho RPA. And of course, copying and moving files. So what can you automate with Zoho RPA? It is across industry and function. I'll just give you a few examples. So quickly, first is manual tasks. So like we were talking about, getting data from multiple sources and then, pushing them. You can extract invoice data, or you can even collect data from various sources, and those manual processes can help. The rest is repetitive processes. For example, see any employee onboarding, wherein every time a new employee joins your organization, we'll have to give them assets, we'll have to set up the system for them. These tasks can be automated with RPA. There is also travel booking, and there are backups as well, which, anything which is high volume and you're doing it on a regular basis and you'd rather get that automated, you can try with Zoho RPA. Rule-based, okay, this is very interesting, because a lot of times what happens is in the fintech or the banking space, loan processing, there are multiple loan documents which are shared with the loan processing officer. He has to go through each one of them and then approve or reject. You can automate all of this with RPA. So what happens is it can extract data from your applications, and then based on certain criteria that you have set, it will be either it's approved or removed. And same with processing claims as well as contracts. These are low exception. Okay, processes with low exceptions are those which have very, very low error rate. So for example, if I was to calculate the work hours, all I do is just the per hour work rate into the number of hours that particular employee has worked. So this does not, it wouldn't have any random errors thrown. So these are called low exception processes, and these can also be automated with Zoho RPA. It helps in better compliance, cost savings, and of course your auditability. So you can record, automate, and accelerate with RPA and QEngine. Thank you.